Lewis here with Pickleball Pursuit, and today we'll be reviewing the much anticipated 14mm J2K and J2K Pro from Honolulu Pickleball Company. If you're someone who enjoyed the J2K and J2K Pro, however, we're just wanting something a little bit more stiff, crisp, and more poppy, I definitely think the 14mm iterations are going to be right up your alley. Now, not only are these paddles quite poppy and firm, they are very stable for a 14mm paddle, with twist weights of 6.67 for the J2K Pro and 6.71 for the J2K. I would put these in the top of the most forgiving 14mm paddles available on the market, which is very consistent with their traditional J2K 16mm paddles. With that being said, you're definitely going to have a very drastic decrease in stability and forgiveness compared to the 16mm model. Although it is quite drastically different and less forgiving, it still is extremely stable and very forgiving for a 14mm paddle. With the enhanced amount of stiffness and pop, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to dial in your drops, dinks, and resets. These 14mm paddles are definitely going to have quite a bit less power on drive, serves, and putaways, but it's not going to be anything that is a detriment to your game. In terms of spin, you can expect these to perform with really any of the very high to top tier spinning paddles currently available on the market. Now, these 14mm are definitely very forgiving and do have a large sweet spot for a 14mm paddle, but it's not going to be anywhere near the 16mm variants. Now, the biggest and most drastic difference, in my opinion, between the 16mm and 14mm paddles are the perceived feeling of maneuverability. These 14mm paddles feel drastically more maneuverable in your hands than the 16mm. I attribute that mainly to a fairly significant drop in twist weight, around 0.4 on average, and a decent drop around 2, maybe 3 swing weight points. Now, I'm not really the biggest 14mm paddle fan, but I will say these J2K 14mm paddles are some of the best performing 14mm paddles that I've tested. They really are very forgiving for a 14mm paddle. They provide excellent pop, excellent spin, and are decently easy to control. Now, when it comes to choosing between these 14mm paddles, I would say they perform almost identically apart from one small difference. The J2K Pro has a slight increase in pop and stiffness. So if you're someone who's looking for the absolute most pop while still having a very forgiving 14mm paddle, I would say go for the J2K Pro. If you prefer a slightly softer feel while still remaining very stiff, but want to save $10, I would just go with the J2K. The J2K comes in at $135 after discount code, and the J2K Pro comes in at $145 after discount code. All in all, I do think that these are some of the best 14mm paddles available on the market, with their exceptional pop, top tier forgiveness for a 14mm paddle, and just an overall very high performing paddle. This is definitely going to be a welcome addition to the Sword and Shield lineup, and I do think it's going to cater to a lot of people who really enjoy poppy paddles. If you'd like to enter for a chance to win the J2K, all that you have to do is like and comment on this video, subscribe to Pickleball Pursuit, and fill out the Google form listed in the description below. The winner will be selected 4 weeks after this video has been published. If you'd like to purchase this paddle, you can utilize my promo code PURSUIT, which will knock off $20 off both these paddles. I hope you enjoyed this review. Until the next one, I'm Lewis with Pickleball Pursuit, and I'll see you soon.